What's up, everybody? It's your boy Big Hoppa, aka BC Hops on Twitter. My boy Harrison. We're back from another week, a quick week hiatus because I have the worst internet in the world. This is Lecture Hall, brought to you by Student Union Sports. I hope you're having a good week. We are back. I've been excited to get here. We got a lot to talk about. The sports world just got a big upstart. We're getting everything is like there's light at the end of the tunnel. That's the best way to describe it, Harrison. We got a lot to talk about. We got our favorite sports, baseball and golf. Oh, I'm just excited. How was your week? What did I miss out on your life from last week?
You didn't miss much last week other than the start of my How I Met Your Mother binge. Caused a little beef with our boy Big Takes once again on Twitter with that one.
Yeah. I love How I Met Your Mother. I can't like last episode gets me every time. I'm not afraid to say it on camera. So what can I say? Yeah, our boy Big Takes. He's just at some point he's just gonna have to be on the way that we just like. Apparently he's just a big part of our lives. The way that we just talk about. All
He
the
really
time.
is. He's come up every episode.
Yeah, this is at this point it's ridiculous. He should be on the payroll if we had a payroll that we could have. Anyways, we got a lot on the docket. We have our student union. So the big houses debate for just everything. I mean, you had like the Barstool bloggers, ESPN had one that was terrible, by the way. We'll get into that. Obviously, us at Student Union Sports. Go check us out on Twitter at Student U Sports. Um, so we did one. We got 9 houses. Your boy right here put it together. And Harrison, let me first get your. What do you got? Who's in your house?
My initial thought, just off a first glance, was House 2 for the sake of having Johnny Manziel and Zion Williamson, because that's just going to be a straight electric factory. And then you have Saban Self and Dickie V. It's like you have Saban judging your every move, and then Dickie V commentating everything you do while you're going rogue with Manziel and Zion. But I think I had to settle on House 6 solely because of Tebow. Because if we're going to be in quarantine for 6, 7, 8 weeks, I'm coming out of that house with Tebow shredded.
Oh,
Dude's going to have me on some kind of insane workout program. I'm coming out at least 20 pounds heavier, all muscle. Like,
you're
I
gonna
can't turn
be
that down.
yeah. You're not only gonna be ripped, you're probably gonna be like a single A baseball player.
Hey, it's better.
You might sniff the Arizona Fall League.
Hey,
Um,
that's better than my little league career ever got me.
right? Let's see. I gotta see. I'm having a really tough time because I like Tebow. I like the idea of like Roy Williams, Dabo, Jay, Vince Young, and Chris Webber all being together. I would just make fun of like Chris Webber not winning a natty and then Vince Young winning a natty. Um, but I gotta go House One because I love Jimmy V. Obviously, R.I.P. Tressel is just kind of like there as a filler, but who doesn't love Herbie, love Reggie Bush, and like Christian Leitner? Like I would just love to antagonize because I'm just a terrible person. I would love to just antagonize him. I'd be like I don't know if you've ever watched the I Hate Christian Leitner 30 for 30, but when I can't remember who it is. I think it's like Jimmy King. It might be Jimmy King. He goes, I hated Christian Leitner, like really slow, and I would just repeat that line to Christian Leitner to his face just the whole time. I would just be like, I hated Christian Leitner as I just like look up because he's what like 10 inches taller than me. Just like that. That's how I would look up at him. Like,
We've talked about you
dude,
win
I
think
think
you
House
have a
One.
thing for the number
Okay,
one,
yeah,
because every
and
one of these
so
house
I
debates.
don't know what it is. I think it is just me enjoying the number one. I am number one. Thank you, dear.
No, I said you think.
No, I am number one. Not think. Say it loud enough for the people to hear.
I said you think you're number one.
Say it with your chest.
This is amazing. We have the whole Hoppa family.
We have, yeah. We're talking about houses. We just gotta have everybody in the house. You're being a good girl. I'm
Going
very
back
impressed.
to House 6 with Tebow, you have Steven Garcia in there, an absolute wild card.
Yeah, so I'll address that now. I've heard some rumblings on Twitter a little bit, and then a lot in the Slack chat. People are like, "Who made this list?" And I'm a South Carolina fan, so they immediately assume that this was my doing, that I somehow pushed Steven Garcia into this list. I didn't even know this was a thing until we tweeted it. I was not involved in the social management of this, and I found out like earlier that Hoppe made it. So Hoppe can confirm that. You and Patty.
I put Bill Self in twice, and editors put in Steven Garcia.
But yeah, I gotta agree with 6 because, like, if we're looking at this, I thought of it like his Big Brother, like Survivor type thing. Like, okay, tribes, like this is a reality TV show, and Garcia, Tebow, Foyle is amazing. It's like Drake and Josh almost. Like you kind of got like the bad boy, kind of unorthodox style, but still gets it done, and then you got kind of the straight edge guy in Tebow. And then, like, if we could have Rafferty call the whole thing, that'd be unreal. Like, if he narrated that show. And then, like, I don't know, me, Bear Bryant, and Glenn Rice will chill, smoke cigars or something. But Garcia deserves to be on that list because, if he doesn't have the accolades of some of these guys, he's still, like, he's a college guy. He's a college football guy.
He embodies the student union sports brand.
That's all. I just want to clear my name on that.
Thank you,
It's
producer.
like when it comes to Garcia, I didn't know who he was until I got involved with student union, but I knew who he was. Like, I didn't know why I knew him, but I knew him.
He's like that guy in high school. He's the guy from like 2 or 3 towns over. You know his name. He's got that name that rings, and you know his team is going to go to state, but you don't know him. You're like, I was like my friend knows his friend, and they hang out like sometimes. Like, he's that guy.
That's accurate. That is 100% accurate.
Yeah, he's just that dude. So I didn't know really who he was either, and then I got like indulged in his awesomeness. So that
you
was...
don't want to be the one who invited Steven Garcia to the party. Like that's but like he's the man, but you're glad he's there, but you don't necessarily want him to be your responsibility. And I think Spurrier can attest to that one.
Well, like when you're in the party, you have your boys that you have the party with every week. Like either the same house or whatever. You have the boys that you party with. Steven, he's like you invite him once a month. Like when you're really feeling rowdy, you invite Steven. But all the other weeks you're like, let's just keep it. Yeah, let's invite Steven. We just all the other weeks we just it's us boys. Make sure the ratio's nice and that kind of stuff. Otherwise Steven comes around once a month. Yeah, only once a month, sweetheart.
I think another guy who was a bit of a wild card, but I would have liked to see on here was Terrell Pryor.
TP, yeah. Is he okay? I don't know. Producer Liam might have to cut this out. Is he okay? Because didn't he get stabbed like 8 times?
Yeah.
Is he okay?
Did.
I haven't heard anything about Terrell.
That's why he didn't make the list.
Well,
I don't think he. I think he's fine.
On the list.
I don't remember him being dead.
Oh.
Anyways, so I would keep that in. But anyways, the other thing is like I tried to do a good job. So as Liam mentioned, I did put this all together, and I just kind of went through like great moments and that kind of stuff. Or great careers, that kind of stuff. The other one that would be really interesting is House 7. You have Calipari, Pete Carroll, Vern Lundquist, Barry Sanders, and Danny Manning. I feel like Barry and Danny would just like hang out in the sunroom and just would like let us be, and just be me, Coach Cal, Carroll. Yeah, I would not leave you. I'm sorry. Carroll, Vern just like what Liam said, like Lundquist just announcing everything that happens, just like Cal and Carroll just getting a fist fight, and you got 2 like 70-year-olds just going fisticuffs at it.
I feel like that's the group that you just chill at a golf course, drink and smoke cigars with.
I can also see that other side, but I'd like to get Cal and Carroll revved up because like, oh, God only knows. I'd just be like, so how about 2004 to Carroll, and be like, Coach Cal, some Memphis guy, and then I feel like it would just be a nonstop. Just who knows what would happen.
I think that I was saying that no matter what house we commit to, number 9 is going to be offering some huge incentives with Rick Pitino in the mix.
I'm also on that take. Stay woke on Lou Holtz. I mean, Notre Dame, like, Catholic school and all. I'm not, he was in the 80s and acted kind of like the 70s and 80s. Like, I'm not sure Lou was always doing things right either. He might not be able to party now, but maybe you start partying and Lou's, Lou gets a little crazy.
Yeah, with the Pitino in the mix, you're always going to have a good ratio in House 9.
You might be over with the girls, and maybe you should stay out of this segment. There's definitely going to be too many girls at the house.
At least you don't have Pitino and Garcia in the same house.
The 10-person limit in the house would be done after the 5th stripper walks through the door. All right, on to the next one. We've had enough talk about houses and whether or not they're worthwhile being in. You had my own family in my own house in the daughter's room. Anyways, she's mad I was in her room. Another big thing. I try to keep a theme for each week when we talk about stuff. So it was supposed to be opening day, and I wore the Braun jersey. Now I've got my old high school jersey. We had the sleeveless look. Love it. But baseball possibly might be back, Harry. I don't know. A little head to Arizona, a little biodome action maybe.
As much as I love the idea of baseball being back, I don't want it back if it's going to be how it's proposed right now. No shot that I want it back.
Elaborate. Like, what don't you like, first of all?
Like, first off, before I get into, like, the proposed rule changes for this season, the idea of having every team moved to, like, one city to play all their games in this one city for however long they have to is insane. It's like Phoenix is affected by this too, and the second that there's like a major case or like we hit the peak of this, which is still to come, like this idea gets scrapped. Like I don't get why they're like assuming Phoenix is in a bubble right now and like it's just as bad there as it's going to be if like anywhere else.
Yeah. I know I saw Trevor Plouffe was like, hey, let's have people move like when we're not supposed to be moving. Like he had some tweet to the effect of like, yeah, let's just have everybody away from their families and like when you're supposed to be quarantined and then play and that kind of stuff. And I was just like, first of all, Trevor, I don't know if you're like the going to be most listened to on this platform, but you have a point. Yeah, like every place has it at this point. Like you may as well just weather the storm and have some ideas. I mean, even like, I feel like the no fans is probably going to be the first thing you have to go back to. My own league that I mentioned, I think last time too, our men's league is getting pushed back. It was our first game is usually the last week of April or early May. We're pushing ourselves back a month to early June. So, and that's what golf has said and that kind of stuff. We'll get into that, but yeah, like everywhere has it. Like, what's your point? Like, not only is like just the influx of everybody coming in huge, but the implications otherwise is just like ridiculous.
Yeah, and then like to make this work, they're looking at playing 7-inning doubleheaders for every single game with robot umps to practice social distancing between the ump and the catcher. But if you're going to have the catcher that close to the batter anyways, what's the point?
Oh, those dudes are all chewing seeds and that kind of stuff. You're just going to spit them right onto his face. Like, yeah, that makes no sense.
And then they're saying like, no dugouts. You're just having all the players and managers sitting 6 feet apart in the empty bleachers. It's just a ridiculous idea. And at this point, they're looking to make money. Like, they don't want to call off the season and not make money. Like, that's all it is.
Yeah. Go
I'd,
ahead.
I'd I'd rather just wait. I'd rather play 9 innings of regular baseball, no fans if you have to, and play like 90 games than get 162 in playing 7 inning doubleheaders with robot umps. Because
Yeah.
like no one's going to take like that World Series, whoever wins, no one's taking it seriously. You're getting an asterisk just like Houston.
Yeah. Well, and like the other half of that too, that's really unfortunate is like at the same time you have well, you're trying to come up with this contingency plan, and not only is it just not ideal or like not even a good plan, but you have still to try to have the revenue sharing. So you have people covering all the Fox, Fox Wisconsin, Midwest, Pacific Northwest, all the local Foxes that put on the games. ESPN is going to want some games, all that stuff. So you have to take all that into account, and that is so many people that you have to account for when you think about not only the players, but like if you want interviews and that kind of stuff, you have to deal with that too. Like you're not going to be able to, I mean, you can do like a booth and that kind of stuff and keep people 6 feet away, but people love the on-field interview after. People stay for the post-game coverage. I mean, maybe not. I don't know. I guess I don't know what those ratings look like for the post-game shows, but I'm a person who tunes in, and I like that kind of stuff where they break down the game, what's coming up. I like seeing the manager's interview. I like hearing the questions, that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, like if you don't like that stuff, then you're not a true baseball fan. Like the only proposed rule that I do like for this year, which I think would kind of help with that, is they're talking about having every player mic'd up so you can like get to every player at any point.
Yeah, and that is just a way for them to contingency plan it and be like, oh, hey, like, we're going to mic up all our players. And now it's okay.
Yeah, like I know I like that idea though. Just like listening to Anthony Rizzo mic'd up in spring training when he was kind of like he was asking someone to bang a trash can for him so he could know it was coming. That was hilarious. Or like last year when they had Mookie mic'd up in right field, or I think I've seen
Harper.
Blackman. I was thinking Blackman from Colorado.
Yeah.
I've seen him mic'd up in center. Like Rafael Devers got mic'd up at third, and he was speaking Spanish with A-Rod this spring training. Like that stuff's funny. Like that's just
Yeah.
funny content. And like for a sport like baseball that only like the true baseball fans pay attention to, they need that to make themselves relevant because they don't market their players very well.
No, not only do they not market their players very well at all, but just generally speaking, like it is a sport that is normally more regional, so you have to take that kind of stuff into account too. So there's no good way to do it. It's not the best plan. I think I'm on board with you where let's just wait. I'd rather play 90 to 100 games and crown a champion that way rather than I don't want to make the players uncomfortable either. Like I want them at peak performance. I want them ready to go. I want them excited for the year. Just mic them up normally. Forget robot umps. Forget the 3 batter minimum and that kind of stuff anyways. But that's another topic for another time. So
Yeah, I think the only good thing that could come out of that is if baseball is the only sport that's playing, like it's going to be huge for the sport, huge for the brand. Everybody's going to be watching. Everyone's going to be gambling on it. It's going to be the only thing on every TV every night. Like that's the only positive that comes out of this. It grows the game.
Yeah. But to that point, you still have to think about it's going to be on TV every night. But are we going to watch? Are we just going to have like a couple? Is ESPN going to have one game on at one time where they have a start time at 11, and then ESPN2 has a game where they start at 11, and then you just roll through the teams through the day, or like 11, the next game, the next game, the next game? Or do you let the Fox, I mean, obviously there's a little bit more semantics than you really need, but like, do you have the Fox Sports take their games with their games and revenue sharing? I feel like the MLB pretty prematurely just like came out with this plan and this idea, and just it's something to supplant not having a season, and it's something for people to talk about.
Yeah, it's solely for the headline. There's no way it happens, and if it does happen, it's probably going to be the most irresponsible decision that a sports league will ever make.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. I can't imagine that like other chances for a sports league to mess up could come along that would be as big as this one with all the health implications and that kind of stuff. So we're gonna move on. We're gonna try to make this a weekly segment. Speaking of baseball, we're gonna start with this one, where we're gonna do like a best duos debate. So this week we have just best two hitters in a lineup together is the best way to describe it, or just best all-time duos in baseball. When I was looking this one up, it seems like I got pretty much one resounding answer from people while trying to do my own research, and so I was kind of bummed that I was like, wow, this was a pretty obvious answer. But what were your thoughts on this one?
I think I have an idea of what your one obvious answer is. I think when I started looking at it, the one that first came to my head wasn't even on the list of like the top 50 that I found. My initial thought was David Ortiz and Manny Ramirez with
This
the
is
Red
coming
Sox.
from a Red Sox fan. Let's put
It
that
is
out there.
coming from a Red Sox fan, but how could you not want those two guys in your lineup in like '03 and '04? Like
Yeah.
they're a power duo. But then I started looking at it, and you have like Griffey Jr. and Edgar Martinez. You have Roberto Clemente and Stargell,
Yeah, Willie.
or yeah, and then oh my gosh, like Jeter, A-Rod, Jeter and Bernie Williams. You have gosh,
There's
what?
yeah, there's plenty. There's plenty that you
Mickey
could,
Mantle, Roger Maris.
yeah. But the one that I saw the most was people had Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth. Obviously, it had to be a fucking Yankees duo because fuck us. But that's the one that I saw with the most common answer was. The most common one I saw at number 2, and I know the article that you sent actually had him at number 1. I originally thought that, as a Brewer fan, Milwaukee has one championship, and one baseball championship, and it was in 1957 as the Braves. So that obviously goes to Atlanta, not the Milwaukee Brewer franchise. But I was like, how does Hank Aaron, like, he won a World Series, so he had to have somebody, and I looked it up, and it was just him and Eddie Matthews. Like, how do you just overlook Eddie Matthews?
Yeah, going back to Gehrig and Ruth, I think historically, yeah, like they have to be the best. But this might be a Red Sox
Are
fan.
you on the Carabas train with
I am
Babe
on the
Ruth?
Carabas train that Babe Ruth is a glorified like Adam Dunn.
Yeah.
Babe Ruth wouldn't make it in today's baseball. He'd hit like 270, but he'd hit like 45 home runs. He'd probably hit like 245. What am I talking about?
In all reality, and I love that we can talk more baseball about this too, is like with the point that Jared Carabas was making is that like I feel like 1970 might even be a cutoff of like from 1970 to now you have the players that could probably like compete. Like I feel anything pre 1970, I bet most guys can't compete as far as like historic.
Daniel Tosh has a joke about Babe Ruth in today's baseball that I'm not going to repeat, but he has a point to it.
I've heard that joke. Well, you can go look it up. People at home,
Yeah, you can look it up. It's not my words; it's Daniel Tosh's. But as a Brewer fan, I don't know how you're leaving Robin Yount and Paul Molitor off this list.
So I can understand where you would be like, how could you leave them off? The 80s were some great years, but I can't speak. I wasn't there necessarily. I wasn't there. It wasn't even a thought in my father's mind. But I know when you look at those Brewer teams in the late 70s and early 80s, you had other guys too. You had Cecil Cooper. You had just a bunch of names that were just super good players, and that's why we went to a World Series and didn't win it. Anyways, yeah, let's. Oh, my Brewers fandom hurts me sometimes. Sorry. Oh God, I hate that the Brewers. I hate that I love baseball so much and the Brewers just can't figure it out. Anyways, you had some good teams in the '80s, so that's where like for the duo aspect, I was like, yeah, Yount and Mahler, but there were some other really good players. I'm actually like kind of surprised you brought that one up, but yeah, I don't know. For me, like, growing up and seeing Braun, and I would put personally. I don't know if I can say that with conviction thinking about it, but like Braun and Fielder might be better than, but that's certainly part of that is recency bias. But to me, Ryan Braun is the greatest Brewer of all time, regardless of what happens, just because. So, I mean, you can hear me out, and I'll end this tangent rather quickly. But Braun, like, maybe best modern day Brewer, because since the 80s, nothing's happened. And like, there was literally we had 1981 where we won 13 games in a row to start the season. Didn't even make the playoffs because of how the playoffs worked, like how they were in the 80s. And then you have 82 where we lost in Game 7 to the Cardinals, and then literally nothing until 2008 when Ryan Braun and Prince Fielder in the last week of the season got us into the wild card. And then he was here for 2011, hit the big homer against the Cardinals in 2018 or last year. Yeah. Point remains. That's why I love Ryan Braun, and I would say Braun and Fielder. But that's a fair point you make about Yount and Molitor. And it pains me to say that I wouldn't necessarily put them up there, but there's a lot of really good duos too. Like I know some of the. I mean, you could make the point for a lot of these different ones that we see, like even like Pedroia Ortiz and that kind of stuff.
The most underrated duo, I think, on that list is Lou Whitaker and Alan Trammell with the Tigers from 77 to 95. That's almost a 20-year span.
Yeah.
They had a combined WAR of 146 and a half.
Jesus Christ. The other one that I really liked or thought about too was let me see, I gotta find it now. Was freak.
While you're looking for that, if Yelly is the guy that takes the Brewers to the World Series and wins it, is he the best Brewer of all time?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, he will not be if he plays for us through the life of his contract and continues to be as good as he is, there's certainly a case to be made. But say like this year, we move on from this year. Next year, the Brewers win it all. I guarantee you, Ryan Braun is the one that comes up with a clutch hit at some point. He's that, like how we were talking about earlier, that guy. He's that guy. He comes up when you need to hit at the last dying moment to the last strike. He'd be the guy to get it done. I just know that that's how the world would have it work out. So that would probably elevate Braun a little bit more. But I could certainly see Yelich wins a World Series. I mean, he should be a back-to-back MVP. We can talk baseball all day long. I'll fucking do it. I don't even care. But they would certainly be. Oh man, that's a tough, because a lot of his career stats too. I mean, he won a Gold Glove and a Silver Slugger with another team. He's not a lifer like Braun and that kind of stuff. I mean, even Molitor went to Minnesota after his Brewer career, so it would be close. That's something we'll have to check on. Hopefully we can do this for years to come and live out Yelich's contract, and I can answer that question.
Do you find your duo yet?
I did. The Jackie Robinson and Duke Snider
for the 47. I have a Duke Snider jersey in my closet right now.
Really?
I have a Dodgers Snider jersey, yeah.
That is awesome. Their cumulative WAR was 114.5. Robinson hit 311 lifetime. And Snyder was great. And I think like too when you think about it, like Snyder, obviously that Dodgers team with the way that they welcome Jackie Robinson is like transcendent among sports and that kind of stuff. But certainly the way that those two guys got along together, I think is huge. The other one too that I had that I thought was interesting when you think about it, and I didn't even like think about offhand right away, was Bagwell and Biggio.
Oh, I wanted to bring that one up.
The floor is yours.
It's just like you just kind of you forget about what was like the '05 World Series altogether. Like it was the White Sox and the Astros. Like, no one cares, especially when the Astros are in the NL. Just no one cared, and you had those two guys down there just going to town. I'm pretty sure they still had Roy Oswalt at the time.
Okay,
don't quote me on that.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think Oswalt was there still because that was pre Phillies.
That '05 Astros team was filthy, and it's a shame they had to lose to a team like the White Sox.
It's kind of when you think about it, like that White Sox team truly wasn't like
they were nothing. They were nothing. They won like 80 some games.
There's a lot of disdain in that comment. I feel like
I hate the White Sox. Another one, Johnny Bench and Pete Rose. Like, come on.
That one certainly has its own like your own. Because it's Pete Rose. People don't want to bring up Pete Rose, but now the world is a lot more progressive, and they're like, well, he didn't, like cheat in any way. He didn't do that. Like this is like the whole Astros thing is like damn near exonerated him. But
no
we can, like I said, we can talk baseball all day. But yeah, I mean, there's certainly some good duos. Baseball, it's a little bit harder and that kind of stuff. But
yeah, considering you've got like 9 guys in one lineup at a time plus a pitcher, and then like the guys on the bench are sometimes just as good as the guys who are batting like 6 through 9.
Yeah, so it can be tough, but we'll move on. It's that time. It's that time, folks. This is the first official segment of the truly outstanding performance of the week. Brought to you by Truly. Nope. Couldn't put it all the way down.
You've got a zillion beers, that thing.
I should have. It's cold. Refreshing. Summer's almost here. We're going to be in our houses. Summer's going to come out. You're going to need something to quench that thirst. It's got to be Truly. Only 5% alcohol. This was a strawberry lemonade. Can you see it on there? The strawberry lemonade, the lemonade pack, let me tell you, lemonade, original lemonade, strawberry lemonade, black cherry, and mango. Don't sleep on the mango. Don't sleep on the mango black cherry. But my truly outstanding performance of the week goes to the Masters. Just the Masters, because they have announced that the Masters week will be November 9th through the 15th. You can book it. They are excited. I'm excited. Harry, you're a golfer. Tell me what your thoughts are.
I can't wait just for the fact that this is probably going to be the only Masters in history that's ever played in November. That's not played the second weekend of April, first weekend of April, like it usually is. It's just going to be an all-around cool vibe. You're going to have like dormant grass, which is something you're not used to at Augusta. You're going to have like leaves blowing across tee boxes. They're probably going to be like lining Magnolia Lane with pumpkins or something like that.
Yeah, I know that I've heard a lot of things about like it's Augusta, it's the most powerful golf entity in the world. Like, do you really think they're going to have just like brown grass everywhere? Or do you think they're just going to bring in new stuff?
Oh no, they're going to paint it. They're going to be painting it. They're going to be bringing in stuff. It's going to look as pure can be somehow.
It's gonna be crazy. I know that like there's just no way that they're gonna let it be like ugly. Or my theory is they'll either make it super green, beautiful, luscious, or it'll be like they'll make brown the prettiest color on earth. like they'll take my shit brown beard and they're gonna make it look like I'm a fucking Brad Pitt.
They're gonna give Tiger a brown jacket when he wins.
Oh, dude. Oh, a little like a hazelnut brown Masters jacket when
Like
he
a
wins.
tweed jacket with some elbow pads on it.
Dude, yes, when he dusts the field by like 8 strokes and defends it. Oh my god, dude. I think we need to take this to the Masters. I think we need to tell them. I think you know
I'll
what?
call up
changed my
Ridley
mind.
after this.
I changed. I changed my mind. My outstanding performance, or my truly outstanding performance of the week, is us for coming up with that fantastic idea. Like, like it has to be a brown jacket. Like if the course is brown and they make it look good, it has to be a brown jacket.
Yeah, and then, like, of course you get your green jacket like a little later, but you have to get a brown jacket with it.
Yeah, they like send it in the mail, and they'll like send you the dry cleaning bill for the green jacket, but the one that you have to wear to the Masters dinner, to all that, or the Champions dinner and all that stuff, and like any pictures, if you win the brown jacket, you have to wear the brown jacket.
100%. Hoppa, if you win the Masters, what are you serving for your Champions dinner meal?
That I wasn't expecting that question. This was unplanned. You got to give me a second. It's gotta be.
Are you going straight Wisconsin with some brats, some cheese curds, some Miller Lite?
Okay, first of all, Miller High Life, the champagne beers. No, see, because I'm a people pleaser, so
That was a layup for Truly, but
I'm not. Fuck! No, you killed us. Our advertising days are over.
murdered.
Producer Liam ends any dream we had of drinking Truly for free the rest of our life. No.
That was it.
See,
You had it.
I literally have it in my hand. I'm still drinking it. It is right here. Like, but I'm too much of a people pleaser, so I would probably want something that everybody would want or like. So I gotta say, man, that's so tough. Because it's between something like nice steaks, pasta, or something like that. Something that everybody would like. I don't know specifically. What about you?
I think I'd have to go like a little East Coast seafood action with like some Maryland crab cakes, some Maine lobster. Just go that route with it.
That's classy. That's very classy of you. That's because like at the same time, dude, like just a fat or like a really nice prime rib. Ooh, done. That's it. A really nice prime rib.
Served up with the lemonade pack of Trulies.
With the lemonade Trulies, they get their choice. You got original, strawberry, black cherry, and mango. But then, so you got the prime rib, nice mashed potatoes with like a little chives, like some nice melted butter. Ooh, dude, I'm telling you, I really need prime rib right now. Like a baked, you got either the baked or the mashed, baked potato or mashed. You gotta have a vegetable. I see it, but I don't like cooked vegetables, so that's kind of where it's like, like I don't know. I'm not like I don't eat cooked broccoli. Like I'm not weird. I'm not a psychopath. So like when I eat broccoli, it's raw. If I eat
You've got to have it there too. You have to. That's when you like call up Tiger and you're like, "What kind of vegetables do you like?" And then you just have them there for Tiger.
Be like, "How can I Sheen? What veggie do you like?"
You have to think that every year the winner has to like call up Tiger and get his like menu approved first. He's like, if Tiger doesn't like this, I can't serve it. And then you like throw in Jack on that call as well, like Jack, and you throw in like, Tom Watson, Arnie, rest in peace. You have to get those guys' approval.
Yeah, it's like my theory. I think this is what happens. They don't say what you have the champions, or well, I guess they do, don't they?
What?
Do they usually release the menu or no?
Oh yeah, they always release it. It's always a huge storyline.
never mind. My theory has no legs now. Maybe they release it, but what they really have is just the same thing every year. But they tell people they have something else, and they just consult Tiger, Jack, and Tom.
What a move that would be. Like, imagine, like, if I won the Masters, it'd be as an amateur because there's no way in hell I'm ever gonna be good enough to like be doing that consistently. So I'd have to get lucky one year and qualify, playing a stretch of tournaments out of my mind. There's no way I wouldn't like get a hold of those guys. I'd be too scared. I'd be like, what are your guys' like 3 favorite foods, and that's what we're having. I'd be too intimidated.
I would ask like JT. I'd be like, hey, JT, this is a phone call. You don't really know me, but like, do you know what Tiger likes? Because like,
Yeah, no way
like,
you're getting the Tiger directly.
yeah, like I'm not. No chance. I'm like Tiger has to come to me because I will be put in a mental pretzel if I ever have to try. If I ever reach out to Tiger, I'll be just. Like, it'll be over, dude. No amount of Truly in the world could make me just like laser up and be like, Tiger, what you got for me? No amount of liquid courage could do it.
Fun fact about fun story about me and Justin Thomas. I met him. What is it? 2020. So I met him in summer 2017. I played in this pro-am at TBC Potomac the week of Tigers tournament there. Yeah, humble brag. And we had locker room access, and my group was getting ready to leave, but I went in there one more time to get my nameplate off my locker. I've got the sick nameplate with the Tiger Woods Foundation, Quicken Loans National logo on it. Humble brag again. And I went in there, grabbed my name, like my nameplate was like sitting on like this bench, and Justin Thomas had my locker, and he was laying on a massage table, just only wearing underwear, getting a massage. And I just like pulled a Sharpie out of my pocket and took my hat off, and I was like, JT, can you please sign this? I get that this is a little weird right now, but like I need you to. And he just started laughing, and he was like, yeah, no problem. Signed my visor, and I just walked out.
What?
Yeah.
That's
I've
crazy.
met Justin Thomas when he was wearing nothing but boxers.
I mean, at that point, you just kind of be like, so, you know, like, hey, what are we rocking here? You know, we got a driver at 9-iron here, guy.
What's good?
You know, are we bombing this thing 300, or are we flying this thing from 120 out, guy? Huh? What you got? What's under there, huh?
The funny thing is, I guess some of the other guys I was with were in there before he'd got undressed, and they like made a Saturdays for the Boys video with him, and like that was like all like going in, I was like, I'm gonna like run into like JT or Ricky, and I'm gonna make this video. And when I walked in and he was in his underwear, I was like, there's no way I can get him to make that video with me. I wish I would have just asked in hindsight, because that would have been a legendary video of JT and his boxers saying Saturdays are for the boys, but I didn't have the balls to do it.
No, nobody would. I remember before we wrap things up, I'll tell my story. So, it feels like forever ago, years and years ago, when Russell Wilson came to the Badgers, went to Badger basketball game, and they were honoring the basketball team, and the whole
football
night,
team?
or the football team, yeah, they weren't honoring themselves. They were honoring themselves by playing well. They were honoring the football team from that year, from the Rose Bowl team. And rumblings the whole night. We had like really close to the floor seats, but rumblings all night like, hey, Russell Wilson is like in this section. Oh, he's back at a seat. He's in this section. Or like he's walking around. He's over here. Finally, there's like 6 minutes left in the game. We were up by like 10 or 12, I think. And the person who I was with was like, hey, I just got a text from my buddy who has season tickets also. He just said that Russ left his seat and is headed for, like, whether he's leaving or whatever, let's go find him. So I am all of, like, cool. I mean, was that 2011? So I'm all of, like, 10, 11 years old, maybe, at this, like, 10, 11, maybe 12. Is that 10 years ago already? No. I don't know. Anyways, they we get up there and we're walking around the Kohl Center and we're looking and finally walk around the corner and he's in like a big puffy vest and a hat that's a little bit lower. And the person who I was with like recognized him. He's like, "Hey Russell, like congrats on a great season." He's the person who I was with. Long story short, tickets to everything kind of guy. Like is not within the isn't connected within the program, but well connected like
Elsewhere.
fandom wise, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And great season, that kind of thing. Like, hey, do you mind taking a picture with the kid? And this is not a father figure. Just the kid is the best way I can describe myself in this scenario. And he goes, "Hey, buddy, how's it going?" And reaches out his hand, and I just dead-eyed him and didn't say a fucking word. I finally the person I was with was like, "Go on, shake his hand," and I was like, I shook his hand and like stood next to him, and we took a picture, and like he was on his way. Like
He was on his way to Red Rock.
Yeah, he was headed to Red Rock. He's probably getting obliterated after that, or he was studying for grad school. I'll give him the benefit of it. Whiskey Jacks. But yeah, I was just like, I mean, I have a couple other like celebrity stories, but that one will always be my favorite because the picture, I have the picture. It's a terrible picture. Can hardly tell that it's even him, and all that stuff. But here we are. So
Maybe this will be a weekly segment, our celebrity run-ins.
I like that because I got a couple good ones. So
Yeah, I've got a few. I've
Yeah,
got a few loaded up.
the
The
stuff that you
JT
tell
one
me.
was my best, but yeah.
Hey,
all my
we started our
connections.
best. We can only go down from here, man. This show can only lose the wheels, man. Oh boy. All right. Well, that has been part of the truly outstanding performance of the week. I'm just gonna finish here. All right. Well, Harrison, as we've seen you, I got. Excuse me. Might want to cut that one out. Great show. Talk baseball, talk golf. Folks, don't go crazy at home. Harrison, great to see your face again. We'll be talking for stuff for next week. You heard from producer Liam, everybody. This was Lecture Hall, brought to you by Student Union Sports. You guys have a truly fantastic week. We'll see you.
See ya.